Hi, everybody. I'm calling this the double full moon because of the summer solstice, and the full moon happening together is pretty powerful in terms of light, right? We have solar light and lunar light. Yesterday, just 25 hours ago, we had the critical solstice, summer solstice point in the northern hemisphere, and the opposite in the southern. But in the northern hemisphere, we had 0 degrees Cancer, which is the day of the maximum light, right, during the summer solstice. And so it is for 3 days. The sun solstice means sun, solstice, sol, sun, sol, stands still. And so it apparently stops moving for 3 days. And then, so it's crossing through all from spring, from the December winter solstice to the summer solstice. And then it apparently changes directions. So now the sun will set this way, right? Going across. So it's so interesting so anyway, we're at the day of the most light, and we have the full moon. And I was just checking to see, I think it was 40 years ago when they happened within 24 hours of each other. So it doesn't happen that often, less than a blue moon, which next full moon will be. The next full moon will be a blue moon because, and this is always the case, this is just astronomy, that so when the full moon is at 0 or 1 degree of the sign, then the next full moon will definitely be 29 or 30 in the next month in the same sign. So a true blue moon isn't 2 full moons in 1 month. It's 2 full moons in 1 sign, right? So we've got 0 degrees. Today is 1 degree of Cancer on this full moon. And so the next full moon will be, I think it's 29 degrees Cancer. So that will be a blue moon. And those happen about every 2.5 years or so. Anyway, so we've got this kind of increasing light, definitely. We're in the increasing light. We're at that maximum point of the year where from now on, and this is so interesting to think about, every single day from today on will get a little darker. The day of maximum light, right? So every day that goes until we get all the way to the winter solstice, and then we come, the days get shorter and shorter, and then at winter solstice they get longer and longer again. So when you think of the winter solstice, I always think of the winter solstice as that very sacred time of year where we make those intentions that are connected to what New Year's is, in our New Year's resolutions, in the dark of the night, and in a way in the energy of the new moon, right? That new moon energy. Well, summer solstice is like full moon energy, right? I call it full moon and full sun. So you've got big full sun, big full moon. It's double hitter. So we've got double energy with this full moon this time with the solstice. So it's powerful, and it's about light. So it's about maximum light. And what stops us from having and being in our maximum light is always something interesting to think about. Where do we stop our light? Where do we hide our light? Where do we, hide our light under a bushel, right? Don't hide your light under a bushel. Where can we increase our light? What stops our light? And it's things like shame, guilt, anger, resentment, all the negative emotions, basically. When you think of being in love, you're full of light. Have you ever noticed, when you're in love and people just look at you because you're shining, And I always say, wouldn't it be nice as a practice to just be in love all the time with whatever's in front of you, right? To be in love, to be standing in love with looking at a painting or making dinner, anything that we're interacting with, to be in love. It changes what can happen and what can be and who someone is, and the people that you're around will it brings out the highest in the world and the others that are around you as much as that can happen. We're not trying to force anything to happen, of course, but we're sort of expecting to meet it. Expecting to be met back by that light. And like attracts like, right? So when you're in a bad mood, you're going to kind of crash into a lot of other people that are also in a bad mood, very likely, and vice versa. So as you start to cultivate a spirit of willingness, optimism, joy, hopefulness, curiosity, creativity, you start looking at the world like waiting to be surprised by the sunset or the sunrise or the way the wind moved that day. And you start to get involved with the world so it all becomes very alive. And that's what presence is, right? Is everything becomes very alive because we're fully 100% all the time, or more of the time and more of the time, being present to whatever the moment is. And then we stand in love with it. I've walked people through death process, right? And it's the same, right? You stand in love, and in solemnity, maybe it depends on the person, but you stand in love anyway. And love knows how to respond, knows how to stay, isn't afraid, right? Doesn't shirk or balk, or is uncomfortable. And in a way, we start to get over ourselves a little bit when you stand in love, because it's for the greater good. It's not even something you're doing for yourself. You're doing it just as yourself, and things happen around us therefore. So it's a big time, and we've got big things happening in the world, as you know. And it's a time where everything matters, consciousness matters, awareness matters. And what I called this meditation is, I wrote, "This is serious." And you could think of it like Sirius, Sirius, and Serious. This is Sirius. It's Capricorn, full moon. And it is serious. And it is the functional bones of our life that are under review when the moon is in Capricorn. People that you might know that have Capricorn moons often are very funny, sarcastic, kind of snappy, quick, street smart, those kinds of things. And they are wise and old when they're young and young when they're old, right? And Capricorns in general, that's true about. But that Capricorn energy is serious energy. It's ruled by Saturn, right? So Saturn is the serious planet. It's the timekeeper. It's the bottom line. It's the deadline, right? It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? When we say that to each other, like shake them by the shoulders. What are you doing? And we kind of snap out of it like, oh yeah, all right, that's right. And we come back into the moment. We come back into our lives. We get present into our experience. And, this is spiritual life, spiritual approach, I call it. Have spiritual approach in everything. So even though, we're meditating, when we meditate, some people every day, some people once a month with the full moon, some people once a year for solstice, or however it works for you. But as you meditate more and more, and especially when you have a daily meditation practice, pretty soon you're just meditating all the time. And all that means is you're present. You're present. So when we meditate, it's not about getting somewhere, right? It's about just becoming still. And all the senses are awake and aware. You hear, you see, you inner see, you outer see. The only thing that you're sort of creating space for is letting the volume of thinking be turned down, so that you're not following thoughts around inside your meditation, right? You're just seeing that's a thought. It goes by. That's another thought. That's a thought. That's a thought. And you start identifying thought. And in between those thoughts, is space. And in that space is God force. All that is pure love, divine love, right? And in those spaces in between where thought, and you start making, I call it gapping. You make bigger spaces between those thoughts, so we're not so addicted to thinking as our only way of knowing. And as you know, I talk a lot about intuition, what intuition is, but it comes out of that spaciousness of non-thought, right? Of just knowing something instantly versus connecting the dots and making a problem to solve that comes with an equals under it and bottom line. Those are the things of mind. But intuition, you can know without any information, no information. And that's where inventions come from, and that's where art comes from, most of it, That's where music comes from, that's where dreams come from, right? That's where that well of subconscious and spiritual consciousness, and that you start blending those and working with those levels and planes. And I'm not going to talk about that tonight. That's more of a class kind of conversation, but just so you know, right? It's just you're developing your ability to gap those thoughts that and even between the breaths, right? You can do the same thing. You start to gap between the breaths, and in that spaciousness is all that is. And you can connect to everything and everyone and all that is in a moment. Or we can think, control, and try to, make our life be some way. Or we can go with the flow of it and I call it like soul guided, right? You're soul guided instead of ego guided, right? And you start to realize, like, why were you born? And why are you here? And what's the purpose of this lifetime? And are you in that purpose? And of course you are, right? Because we are already coming in with all of this genius in us. But those things that stop it are the shame, the guilt, the pain, the unworthiness, too old, too young, all the things that we use as ways to stop ourselves from expressing our soul's essence. So that's what we're here for, right? So as you get out of the way of that and you start to let that essence shine through your words, your thoughts, right? Your thoughts, your words, your actions, different things can happen. Big things can happen, or whatever happens. It's perfect things happen. That's the better way to say it, because it's not a contest, you're not trying to go up, you're just going with spirit. And so inside that, it becomes a whole different kind of point of view of kind of managing yourself. So the thing I wanted to teach tonight before we go into the meditation, one little small thing, which is one of the biggest things I've ever learned from a teacher, is in this serious time of Cancer and Capricorn. Capricorn is the full moon, so it's about the bones of things. Cancer is the solar. We're in solar Cancer, so all the Cancers, happy birthday, is their sign now. You're the feelers of our world, right? And it's about emotions and feelings and bringing those into balance between the Capricorn sort of organization and logic and realism, right? Saturn, realism, realistic reality. And then Cancer's dreamy, psychic, water sign, right? That those two are in juxtaposition to each other, and to get into to manage that. And the idea I want to share, I'm not going to go into it a lot because I want to teach about this more in the class, but it's this concept. And I learned this from David Viscott, who was one of my first teachers, oddly, and he was a radio personality, a psychiatrist that was on the radio and KABC, and he was at night. It was like from 7 to 11 he'd be on, and he was super psychic, and he was an intuitive. And so, I was listening to Alan Watts at night to fall asleep, and I would listen to David Viscott to fall asleep, and because at first was David Viscott, then was Alan Watts. And so these were very big influences for me when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You know, I'm taking in all this information, and I learned from this. And so anyway, David Viscott was doing a book signing one day that I just happened to be at the place that he was having a book signing, and I couldn't believe it. And I was starstruck because, you know, I grew up around a lot of famous people growing up in Hollywood, and my father, you know, in his music business, I met everybody. I was never starstruck. They were just people like everybody. And I saw him and I was starstruck. And I said, David Viscott. I was 17. And he said, there was not anybody around at that moment. And there was a chair next to him. And he said, sit with me. So I'm sitting next to him. And he told me then at 17 years old in our first conversation, who he later becomes my friend. But at that first time we met, he said, you're going to do what I do someday. And I said, what? You know, because I was a musician, I was an artist, I was not thinking those kinds of things. But he was so right. See, he was psychic. So here's this amazing teacher. And the thing that I'm going to share with you that I want you to just contemplate is just a sentence, which is this. He said, you know, Dinah, all it comes down to for psychological health is that you have to know how you feel. And he said, most people don't know how they feel. They think about what they feel. They think what they should feel, right? They think how other people might feel for them. But they don't necessarily know, at the same time, how they're feeling. And that's very true in my experience. And so this is the sentence. Psychological health is being emotionally current. So simple. Psychological health is being emotionally current. I know how I feel. I feel this way. I know why I feel this way. And I feel that feeling. I don't think that feeling. I feel that feeling. I'm sad. I'm excited. I'm nervous, right? All those things. And we can get the really big ones, you know, but the more subtle ones kind of come and go. And so that's part of the work of Capricorn Cancer is, can you identify truly what you're actually feeling so that you're not thinking about feelings, but knowing how you feel. Remember, your emotions are your guidance system. It's how you know if you're attracted to something or repelled from something. But what if you've been taught all your life that you should be attracted to something that you're repelled by, right? So then you're and so life is like this, right? You're crashing against because you should, you know, kiss your aunt or whatever it is, you know, and whatever we're taught, right? Or always be good or always be nice. And so what happens is there's a disconnect between what we're actually experiencing and what we're feeling and what we do. And so when you start to get those things to line up, life starts to go whoosh, because now you're with yourself. And you can then decide how you want to use that feeling or how you want to respond to that feeling, but you know what it is. I don't want to go, but I'm going to go. you know, that's different than, of course I have to go. It's my family, right? It's that forced obligation, all of that. That doesn't mean, you know, that we don't go to a family thing. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying, I'm just giving an example that even if I don't want to go, I can go, right? But I can recognize that I don't want to. And that's helpful, because now I'm going to go in a lot more consciousness than the one that's on lockstep to just, I have to do this thing that I don't even know how I feel about. And I'm going because I choose to. Whether I want to or not is another story, but what I choose to, right? So it's like learning how to correctly identify how you feel, not what you think you should feel, or even things you have felt that you thought you felt some way, and you've put yourself in a box of some type of feeling, you know, where you are, I am this kind of person, so therefore I feel this. Maybe you've changed, and probably you have, right? So can you feel the more creative flow of letting yourself be yourself? And what is yourself anyhow? And that's what meditation does. You start to learn yourself. And it might be different than you think or the way you've been living. And that is always interesting too, to like really honor like you would someone else, who they are, you know? Can you honor yourself as you are? As you take those veils off, they're like more like shells though, and sometimes they're made of metal, more like knight's armor. You start taking this stuff off. Why we don't is because it feels vulnerable, right? But why to do it is so that you can be that light. Because if you've got a lot of armor on, there's not going to be a lot of light emanating, right? Because it's all kind of covered. And you can start to use your senses, your ears, your eyes, your voice in new ways, because the senses come awake. And we talked about that last time, I think at the last meditation class. We were talking about using your senses esoterically. There's a whole conversation, right? You can imagine. So the question that I wanted you to talk about inside yourself for as we enter the meditation is what might be needing your attention in the emotional world. What is your life telling you or showing you? Because it does. It's always showing you back what your next step is, right? Because your next step is always your next step. Always, always, always. So as we're moving through life, our next step is right there. No matter which way you turn, the next step is right there like that. And then we're going, well, I want to go around it. And then it's just there again. We can't avoid it, you know. So the next step is our next step. So you might as well take it. And what, in a way, is your life might be showing you right now at this big time of greatest light, greatest clarity, greatest vision? What might that subject be as you kind of ponder that and wonder what that might be? What could be seen better? And I'm talking about sort of emotion now, feelings now. What might be holding you back with feelings? It's not nice to be mad, you know, or stuff like, see, those things we hear, especially women, not nice to be mad. You're not supposed to be angry. Or you're supposed to be these things that you are much more than, you know, and so it can be a limitation in some ways. So who are you? You know, who am I? And that is one of the biggest questions you can ask in a meditation is, who am I? You know, that asking that question in an open way of really wanting to know that. And even as much as we may know ourselves, there's more to know. There's more to know, like a lot. And so as those veils come off, you can start to know yourself. So I think that's a good place. So let's do a meditation with sort of that at the heart of it, and then we'll see what happens within the meditation of the first of the 2 Cancer full moons. And I'm going to light my candle, and you can use my candle as your candle, or you can light your own. And as this year kind of builds up, as it's been, you know, there's a lot of energy right now out there. And it is serious, you know, to pay attention, to stay present, to know what you're seeing, to stand in love, you know, as practices, as tensions sort of mount, you know. That there can be at the center of you this pristine calm that's not fake, that's not forced. It's a reference point. It's a reference point. So I keep coming back to it, coming back to the calm. So that's how we're going to start. So when you're ready to, just close your eyes. And just as you saw the candle in my image, or you have yours, you can keep your eyes open for a moment, let it go into the third eye, to awaken the third eye more, to let that light, call that light in, and feel your own awakening and awakened or awakened third eye, that inner seeing. And gently breathing through your heart center, inhaling and exhaling gently. Notice if there's anything that can fall away that's covering the heart. What can you let go? What can you release there? Breathing gently through your heart center, and know that no matter what the heart state is today, sometimes it's been really damaged, by stuff, by life, by things. But whatever the state of it is, know that there's a point of light within the heart that from the inside out can heal whatever the condition of the exterior of the heart might be. And just kind of sense within the heart center that light as you breathe through it, and let what's ready to fall away, fall away. And notice that point of light within the heart. And from the heart center, send a line of light like a silver thread all the way into the head center now. So between the heart, line of light into the head, into the cave, and you take your seat here as conscious soul. I am conscious soul, incarnated. And you feel that connection now as you even say the word soul in your mind, that awakens or lights up, in a sense, the soul that is always present in that deep calm. In that deep calm. And in that deep calm, gently breathing that calm through your body, through every part of your body, every system of your body, this deep calm with your breath. Releasing, letting go, coming more and more into the moment. Very bright, very awake within yourself, in this deep calm. Om, and feel that deep calm as a quality. That you're getting used to. That no matter how fast the life might be going, or agitated, or erratic, or ever-changing, or unknown, or confused, there's still this quality of deep calm, profound calm, that washes over and through you, through your bones, through the marrow of your bones, through your muscles, through your organs, calm, through your bloodstream, calm, through your nervous system, calm, through the energetic centers of the body, the chakras, calm. And you start to slow down and feel that space between the thoughts, where love lives, where divine love lives. And just sensing all the light around you, that pranic force, right? It's prana that you can inhale in, exhale out, that your whole body becomes imbued with light as you receive it. You receive light into the calm. I receive light into this calm of me. No wasted energy, no erratic energy, no filing away energy. Just the experience now of light and calm together. And inside the space, as we start to move into the silence, we'll use this mantra, this seed thought, which was the word that came to me in the last couple of weeks for this meditation, was the word dwell. Dwell. I dwell in light. I dwell in light. I dwell in light. Just for contrast's sake, I'm going to use an opposite phrase so you can feel what you're doing. I dwell in fear. You feel it? I dwell in anger. I dwell in sadness. So I dwell in light. You feel the correction of that is so gentle. It's not saying wrong. It's just allowing for, where do you dwell? Well, that goes to the question of your emotional world, right? Or the emotional world. Are we dwelling on something that's not helpful? I'm asking for you. Might I be dwelling in a state or an emotion or in a perspective or an opinion that is not in service to my highest good? So I'll leave some space here for you to wonder that and sort of ask the soul, what might I be dwelling in unconsciously or consciously that is not in service to light or the expression of essence? And just beginning to know what that might be in this meditation right now, or if you do it again later, just offer it into the light. I release this habit, this opinion, this way, this fear, this belief, this inner dialogue, this self-negation, this pain, this memory, this, and I remember now that I can dwell in light. I dwell in light. And you can use more words that might, if you think of tuning a guitar to get it more precise, perhaps. I dwell in light sort of covers everything, But your word right today might be, I dwell in love. I dwell in compassion. I dwell in healing. I dwell in peace. And take that into the life, into your awareness, into your day to day, into your hour to hour, into your minute to minute, into your breath by breath. Using it, remembering it, remember to use it. I dwell. I love this word. It reminds me of yield. It's another word I love. Yielding to love, yielding to light. I dwell in light on this day of most light. And just gently beginning to breathe that into you, making it part of you, light to light. Memorizing it as who you are, as what you are, as remembering yourself as the ancient being that you are. And gently radiating that light out to anything, anyone, everything, our world, the trees in your yard, the mountains behind, the oceans, the land, the continents, the countries, all beings radiating light, all beings. Until it starts to feel natural to begin to transition out of this meditation when you're ready to. Psychological health is being emotionally current. Like water flows, right? Like the Tao, like water flows. No resistance. Good. Nice. Thank you. Yes, the meditation will be up on YouTube tomorrow. You can watch it again there or use it there. It'll also be up on SoundCloud tomorrow also. And if you like them, if you ever use these, please like them or something, because it helps people see them, you know, and just say, oh, I listened to that. You don't have to say it's you. Just, it's a way to help me get my work out there and help, if I can, be of some service somehow. It really does make a difference, actually. And the next meditation class will be Friday, July 5th. The next full moon will be Saturday, July 20th, 4 weeks from now. So I hope you can join us. And I'm so glad that you were here tonight. Thank you for being here from everywhere and all the places that you are. It's so good to see you. I haven't seen some of you for a long time. It's so nice to see you. So I'll see you again soon, and thank you for being here. I dwell. I dwell in what? I dwell in love. I dwell in harmony. I dwell in peace. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.